Hi, I'm Gabriel, and this is Black Force Comics Weekly Review Episode 21, where we talk about the comics that came out and the comics that are coming out, as well as some geeky news that happened. So let's get started with last week's comics. First up, this one's more of an honorable mention than we're going to really talk about it. Daredevil #1 just came out. Written by Soul. You're going to want to check it out. It's a good comic. I'm not going to talk too much about it. I'll just tell you, it's worth the read. It's worth the read. A lot of people have really liked it. So, moving on to ones I do want to talk about. Star Wars. Episode 13. What are these things called? Issue. Star Wars issue number 13. This one's part 3 of the Vader Down series, and this one is really good. So we've already got Vader. He's crashed on the planet, and in Darth Vader number 2 or Darth Vader number 13, he was totally taking out squadrons, just like blowing up tanks, blowing up speeders, just walking and decimating all these rebellion squadrons, just killing them ugly. And the same thing's kind of continuing in this. We find that in Darth Vader number 13 that Han Solo had got knocked out by Dr. Azubabas, the doctor chicks, robots that look like C-3PO. She spray painted him gold. And then so in this one, they're carrying him back, and Han Solo and Chewbacca went to go look for him because they're his friends, and that's what they do all the time. And so they went to go look for him, and they found him, and they see him coming up, so they kind of position themselves. Chewbacca's hiding behind a rock. Han Solo's hiding up on top of a cliff, and he says, "Okay, we got you now," and talking ensues, and the Doctor and Han Solo shoot at what's kind of like a hornet's nest right above each other, and some weird worm wasp thing falls on both of them, and they run into each other and knock each other out. It's hilarious. During this time, Chewbacca rips off the arms of the C-3PO droid and is beating the droid with his own arm, and the droid's like, "Stop beating me with my arm." Oh, the irony. And so the other droid, though, the C-3PO one, they're deadly. Her droids are very deadly. The R2-D2-like droid is fighting R2-D2. And R2-D2, you know, if you watch the shows or watch the movies, he's got that little electric thing. This droid unit has missiles and machine guns that come out like they're face to face. And all of a sudden, all these weapons come out, and he's just attacking R2, and R2's running for his life. And they managed to take him out, and they managed to kill them both and save Luke Skywalker. Yay! But in the meantime, Princess Leia is leading another squadron of rebels to go stop Vader. And they're hearing on their intercoms, "Oh, he's blowing up our tanks. He's killing us. How is he doing it? He's not a man." And all of a sudden, Leia's walking. There's two guys behind her, and they just start getting that whole force choke thing going on. And here comes Vader, and he says, "Why, hello, princess." And that's where it leaves off. So this is a really cool episode. I'm just excited about it because the movie's coming out really, really soon. I hope you got your tickets. We haven't got ours yet. I know. All right, next up, all new X-Men #1. Now, here's the thing. I have a couple of teenagers at home. I really don't want to read a comic about teenagers because I get enough of it already. But this one's really good. This takes the X-Men that had traveled back in time, the young X-Men, the original X-Men, Beast before he turned all blue. It takes those X-Men, brings them to the present, and leaves them there. And so now they're forming their own team. This is after the present time Scott. It's going to get all weird now with the whole time lopping thing. The present time Scott is the one who killed Xavier and killed a whole bunch of people and went all crazy. And so he created this mutant uprising. And the past Scott, who's now in the present, is kind of fighting these people that have started following Scott Summers' way and kind of making this thing, and they're following his idea of killing people. That's what they think the mutant should do. And so the past Scott has come, and he's fighting them, and he's saying, you know, you can't do that. You want to see what Scott would do? And then he takes off his glasses and totally gets an optic blast, and they find him. And so it's all these young people. The oldest ones, I would say, are going to be X-23 and Warren, Archangel, who are the present Archangel and the present X-23, the present Wolverine. They're the ones that are helping the past people. So they're going to be the oldest members of that crew. And it's a really good comic. I'd say I really enjoyed it. It's got Ethan as well, the young Apocalypse. So if you don't know who Apocalypse is, this isn't going to help you because it's a young Apocalypse. If you want to find out, read X Factor number 6. Yeah, that's a good one. All right, so moving on. Here's another number 1. The Totally Awesome Hulk with Amadeus Cho. Now this one, a lot of people have been very skeptical because it's not Bruce Banner Hulk. It's going to tell you what happened to Bruce Banner in here. So you got to read it. You got to find out. He's in here in a remembrance sequence where it's 6 months ago. What happened? Dr. Banner went to go help the Avengers, and they were like, oh, this is happening, this is happening. Dr. Banner takes off his glasses, so I guess Bruce can't help. And he turns into the Hulk, and he says, you wait here, I'm going to go do this. And so he jumps in as the Hulk, and it's some type of radioactive leak, and he starts absorbing all the radiation. But it's not gamma radiation. It's a different kind of radiation, and it acts differently. We don't know what happens because they're going to probably continue it in the next issues. But in this issue, it focuses on Amadeus, a 19-year-old, another teenager, and his 16-year-old sister working together to fight creatures that have been showing up throughout the world. Just randomly, these creatures are showing up. And so they capture them, they hide them, and so that's what it's following. It's following those two and their crazy, zany adventures as brothers and sisters saving the world. So that's Totally Awesome Hulk. Next, the last for our adult read, Harley Quinn, Little Black Book number 1. We talked about this last episode, that this is going to be a bi-weekly series, and this one picked up with Wonder Woman. So Wonder Woman is living in London, as we all know, and Harley Quinn got word in the Bronx, where she's currently living, that someone wants to kill Wonder Woman. So she leaves and goes to London and wants to, because if you find out in this episode, in this issue, that Harley Quinn has been a big fan of Wonder Woman ever since she was a kid. It gives you a glimpse back to her childhood, where she almost strangled a child to death by hanging them dressed as Wonder Woman because she loved Wonder Woman for that long. So you get to see a little bit of Harley Quinn's psyche as a child. She was a mass murderer then. She's a murderer now, but just for good. I'm not sure. So anyway, it's going to follow her. She totally does this scene right here where they switch clothes. She knocks out Wonder Woman, leaves her naked in the bathtub, and takes her clothes because she knows that someone's trying to assassinate her. So she takes her place, and she's beating up all these assassins, taking them out. Wonder Woman wakes up, puts on Harley Quinn's outfit, and starts fighting with Harley Quinn. There's a moment in there where Harley Quinn's kind of looking at her and punching people, and Wonder Woman's looking at her, and Harley Quinn's just in love, and it's a funny little sequence. You have to read it. It's a good comic. It's a fun read. It's a Harley Quinn read. If you've been reading into the Harley Quinns, they're lighthearted, a lot of fun, entertaining. So check that one out. It's going to be a bi-weekly series. All right, lastly, for our kids comic, Invader Zim issue number 5. Now this one, I haven't really talked a lot about Invader Zim. I'm going to be honest with you, this kind of let me down at the beginning. I was expecting more. I guess it was too much hype. It was a lot of hype. I was really expecting a lot more from it. And it's kind of worked its way back in now. It's worked its way back into my heart to where it's kind of like the show now. This issue does not focus on Zim at all. It's, oh my gosh, I can't remember his name now. The little boy, Dib. It's Dib going to his sister Gaz. And Gaz is playing a video game. It's a virtual reality game. And he turns it off on the middle of her fighting with her guild. And she gets really upset about it. And so what she does is she convinces her father to create a Inception type video game that's virtual reality. And she sticks Dib in it. He wakes up one day and he's in this virtual reality dream video game. And so his sister is torturing him, making him go through all these different video games to learn to not disrupt her while she's playing video games. That's what the whole comic is about. So it's funny if you want to see Dib get beat up by a Gaz over and over and over. Go check it out. Good read. All right, so that's this week's. Let's talk about next week. Next week, we got coming up Adventure Time number 47, Hawkeye number 2. Now, if you read Hawkeye number 1 that just came out last month, you see that it's Kate Bishop and Clint Barton, and they're old. This is old man Clint and young lady Kate? Mature lady Kate? I don't know. I guess she would be about 25, 30 in this time frame that they're in. And it's them going back to the last thing that they did prior to the whole Battle World Secret Wars calamity. They had some kids that they had got that were superpowered kids, and they could kill people with their thoughts. And so they had given them to Hydra. Anyway, that's where it finds us. It finds Clint and Kate had kind of been at ends and hadn't really talked since then. So you find Kate going to Clint, old man Clint, getting him and saying, we need to redo our last mission. We need to go save these kids. And they're like, okay. So that's where issue number 1 leads off, leading to issue number 2. So we're going to find out what happens this week. Amazing Spider-Man number 4 has been really good. Arcane number 5, I've enjoyed it. It's like a night at the museum, but at a casino. Back to the Future number 3. If you read any of the Back to the Futures, that's a lot of time travel stuff going on. Batman number 47. So Batman in number 46 had fought, oh my gosh, I can't remember his name. The Blossom, the Bloom, Mr. Bloom. Fought Mr. Bloom, and he is a crazy dude. I don't know if you read it. You should read it. Go back and read Batman number 46. Mr. Bloom goes to this party and takes out a whole bunch of people, just jokingly walking around saying, well, what kind of heart do you have? And he punctures somebody through the heart. That's the kind of stuff that he does. He's a crazy guy. You got to check him out. Also, coming up this week, Batman and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 1. That's right, the crossover you've been waiting for, Batman and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I'm lying. I don't know if you've been waiting for it, but if you haven't, it's here anyway. So check it out. It's going to be about Batman and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah. Also, Black Knight number 2. If you read Black Knight number 1, that found our friend in Weird World, which is a cool world. One of my favorite artists is Frank Frazetta. This is kind of one of his brainchilds. It's not him doing it anymore, of course. But it's that type of art, and it's a very cool story. The Black Knight character itself is an intriguing character. So if you haven't seen it, go check it out. Black Knight number 1 just came out. The hip-hop cover was pretty awesome on it, so go check that out. Black Knight number 2. Also, Constantine Hellblazer number 7 is coming out. Number 6 finished off a story arc where he involved some people from his origin story where he first got his powers and someone had died and came back as a vengeful spirit. That ended issue number 6. This is a new story arc. In this new story arc, issue number 7, he's teaming up with the Swamp Thing, getting back to the very origin of him when he first came out in the old Swamp Thing saga, when Constantine was first introduced. So check issue number 7 out of Constantine the Hellblazer. It's going to be pretty good. Deadpool number 3. Deadpool number 2 was really good. We found out at the end of number 2 that it wasn't Deadpool. It was someone else acting as Deadpool, so we're going to see what happens there. Guardians of the Galaxy number 3. Number 2, we found Gamora coming back after being gone for 8 months, so that's what's going to ensue in that. And then also, Gwenpool Special number 1 is coming out this week. Now, this is going to have several different stories in it, including a story about Gwenpool, which is... come on, Marvel, are you just pulling stuff out of your hat just to get stuff sold? Sorry. All right. Harrow County, number 8. This has been really good. Remember number 7, it left off with Cammy getting all the creatures from the dark and forming an army, while Emmy was getting all these light creatures and forming her own army to fight her twin sister. So we got the East versus the West, the good witch versus the bad witch, and they're going to collide in issue number 8. It's going to be an all-out war. It's going to be pretty awesome. Hercules number 2. Secret Wars number 8 is coming out this week. We're not going to say anything about that. Just saying Secret Wars 8 is coming out this week. I'm not going to say anything about it. Star Wars Annual number 1 is coming out. This is the beginning of December. So you're telling me Secret Wars number 9 isn't going to come out for another month and a half almost? Come on. Marvel. All right. So Star Wars Annual number 1's coming out. It's going to kind of wrap up and probably is going to include some aspects of the Vader Down storyline to it. It's not necessarily in the order to read the Vader Down series or story arc, but it's probably going to have something in there that you wouldn't find otherwise. So it's going to be worth reading. All the Star Wars stuff is really worth reading. Maybe not Kanan as much or Princess Leia. That was all right. It started good, then kind of weaned down at the end. Street Fighter number 1 is coming out. It's going to be a cool little short story about the Street Fighter. If you played the video games, that's what this is about. Ultimates number 2 and Ultimates number 1, you found out that the team is more about dealing with big issues. Big as in saving the world, and right now they are working with Galactus. So it's going to be pretty cool, issue number 2. Also, Justice League Gods and Men, Lex Luthor #1. This is going to be how the story of Lex Luthor with the godlike powers. And it's going to take an evil, corrupted Superman to help him. So that's going to be a really cool read. You got to check that one out. Also, one more that we're going to talk about. Kingdom Bum #1. This is going to be a 4-part series. And if you've watched the Game of Thrones or if you've read any of the Game of Thrones stuff, this is kind of what this is, except for bums in alleys. Not necessarily entire kingdoms. It's an alley that is their kingdom. So you have, have you ever watched bum fights? Shame on you and me. But that's kind of what this is. Bum fights meshed with Game of Thrones. So that's what's coming out next week. Or this week, I'm sorry. That's what's coming out this week. So yeah, that concludes the stuff we want to talk about. Let's talk about some news. All right, first off, we just want to say our prayers and our thoughts and well wishes, everything are with the people in San Bernardino, California right now. We have acts of terrorism. Terrorism is never concludes just to one race or one creed or one religion. Terrorism can be done by any one type of person. You don't have to be a certain way or look a certain way. So we just want to say our thoughts and our prayers are with those people in San Bernardino. It was a sad day. 14 lost their lives. 21 were injured. Sad. So, just want to say that. Moving on now. Superman versus Batman. They released a new clip. I don't know if you saw it yet or not. If you haven't, it must have been like 3 days already. Go check it out. Pause this right now. Open another link on YouTube and look at the video. I'll wait. Okay, so if you saw it, it's really good. Now here's the thing. That dream sequence with Batman, that's what it is. It's a dream sequence. And the San Francisco Comic-Con, they introduced that toy of him with that outfit, and they called it the Dream Outfit. It's a dream sequence, and it was just confirmed this today, actually, that it is indeed a dream. Those parademons that you see flying, it doesn't necessarily mean the dark side's coming. It's just part of a dream. It could be an Easter egg that they're teasing on you, but that's what it is. It's a dream of Superman going bad and going corrupt. Also, it might be Doomsday. It might not be. I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. Here's the thing. When Doomsday first came out, he was wrapped in all this green clothing, skin-tight clothing. He didn't have all these bones protruding out of him. As he fought Superman, as he fought the Justice League, before he got to Superman, as he was fighting the Justice League, that's when all those bones started to come out. He started to really form who he was at that point. So don't be upset at the CGI of this giant turtle guy, okay? Just chill. We're going to all watch it. We're all going to all enjoy it. Just give them a chance. Give them a chance. Did you see Gal Gadot? Did you see her come out with that shield? That was amazing. All right, so moving on. For the Game of Thrones fans, speaking of Kingdom Bum, for the Game of Thrones fans, today they just released a HBO trailer talking about all the different HBO series and shows, and on that they showed several small clips of the new Game of Thrones season, and really nothing spectacular. What did look cool is there was some type of arena. I don't know what's going on. There was an arena. Could have been a battle. Could have not been a battle. But it showed Daenerys riding one of the dragons out. And it looked really cool. That was about it. All right. So that concludes this week's episode. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you're reading. Leave some comments, whatever, down below. And we'll see you next week.